Hey everybody, welcome back to Never Tasted Better. Today, I am going to show you how to make the best chocolate cake you've ever had. If you're a chocolate lover like myself and you get a chocolate craving every once in a while, this is the cake you will think about. You will want to come back and make this over and over again. Guys, this chocolate cake is fluffy, it's moist, and it has a delicious chocolate buttercream frosting. In between the layers, I added some chopped up chocolate, so it gives it an even more intense chocolate flavor with a bit of crunch. It's delicious, guys. Let's get started. Okay guys, so we're gonna start out with our cake pans for our chocolate cake. We're going to butter and flour them really well because we don't want it sticking at all. A cake that sticks is just going to be a disaster. For the flouring part, we're going to just lightly coat it in flour and just bang it until it is all coated. Very simple. Any extra flour, just dump into your next pan. Okay, and repeat. Okay, lastly with our cake pans, we're going to go ahead, take a cake wrapper, and we're going to just put that onto our baking pans. This will keep the pan cool as it bakes, and it will result in a fluffier cake and no nasty hard edges. So trust me, cake wrappers are worth it. You can find them on Amazon.com. Now we're going to go ahead and set our oven for 350 and set your cake pans aside. Okay, now for our dry ingredients. We're going to start out measuring our flour. We're going to do 3 cups all-purpose flour. Now you got to be really careful when measuring your flour, guys, because if you don't do it right, then too much flour will result in a really nasty cake. So you just got to be careful. You want to spoon it into the measurement and just go ahead and make sure that you brush off any excess flour. So make sure that you spoon it in and you level it out. Okay, continuing with our dry ingredients, we're going to take all of our 3 cups flour that we just measured, and we are going to sift that in to a medium-sized mixing bowl. If you have a small sifter like me, you might have to do a little at a time. We have our cocoa powder, 3/4 cup cocoa powder. Make sure you use a good quality cocoa powder. Cocoa powder has a high fat content, so it has a tendency to clump together, and you don't want any clumps in your cake. So we're going to sift all of this through. And next we have our leavening agents. We have 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1.5 teaspoons baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Add that, use a whisk, and stir. Now to get started with our wet ingredients, we have 1/2 cup canola oil, 1.5 cups hot coffee. Now you guys might question me on this, but coffee really brightens up that chocolate flavor. So if you're a coffee hater, just trust me on this one. If you absolutely can't stand coffee at all, you can go ahead and use hot water, But guys, trust me when I tell you this, coffee slaps chocolate in the face and says, do your job. To add 1/2 cup sour cream, 2 3/4 cups sugar. We have 4 large eggs, room temperature. Guys, if you forget to leave your eggs out so it can warm up to room temperature, don't be afraid to just run it under warm water for a few minutes, and that will do the trick. 1 1/4 cup buttermilk. Okay, and let's give it a whisk. Let's go ahead and add in our pure vanilla extract. We're going to do 2 teaspoons. Give it a whisk. Let's go ahead and combine our dry into our wet. Carefully just pour it in. Try to be gentle so you don't get a dust cloud like I did. Okay. A whisk to combine. It's going to be normal that your batter is very thin. Trust me, it's okay. It'll make for a very moist cake. Now we are ready to fill up our cake pans. Ideally, you would need a scale for this if you want to make sure that they're perfect, but I don't have that, so I'm going to have to improvise. I'm going to start out with 1 cup measurement, and we are just going to go ahead and scoop 1 cup each into the cake pans at a time to make sure that we get an even amount in each. So in each pan there is about 3 1/4 cup batter in each pan. Now we're going to bake them in the oven at 350 for about 30 to 33 minutes. Okay, so for our frosting, we're going to start off with 4 sticks of unsalted butter. We are going to cream this together until nice and smooth. Okay, next we are going to sift in 4 1/2 cups of powdered sugar. Don't be like me, don't do that. All right, just do your best to sift it in. Mostly we're trying to just get out the lumps. We're gonna add a 1/4 cup cocoa powder. Make sure we sift that in as well. Okay, get ready for a dust cloud, guys. Now just try to start out on low speed. Let's go ahead and take a spatula and we're going to scrape down the sides as much as possible. Okay, and mix again. Alright, do a little finger taste test. It's good. I don't like my buttercream overly sweet, so you can add more sugar if you'd like. It's up to you. And next we're going to add about 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Add 1/2 tablespoon of instant coffee espresso powder. Guys, this stuff, like I said, coffee and chocolate go really well together. Now we are ready for our pure vanilla extract. We're going to do about 2 teaspoons of this. And let's mix. we're going to add just a slight bit of half and half cream. Just a light drizzle. And taste test. Oh wow, guys. Yeah, I could sit here with a spoon and eat this. It's really light and fluffy. Like I said, not overly sweet. I think it's perfect. Okay, so our cakes came out beautifully. We're gonna go ahead and just set them down and let them cool off. If you have a piece of parchment paper or plastic wrap, lay that down first. Guys, now we're ready to assemble and start with the crumb coating on our cake. So we're gonna start off with just a little dollop of frosting. This will help it obviously to stay on the tray without sliding off or sliding around too much. Spread that out. Okay, so we're going to take the bottom layer and we are going to lay it down flat. Make sure it's centered. Do a nice sized dollop of frosting. Once that's coated, we're going to go ahead and I ground up some dark chocolate chips, and also I use an espresso chocolate chip as well. I ground them up in the food processor, and I'm just going to sprinkle it over. This will give it a nice little crunch, and of course it intensifies that chocolate flavor as well. We are ready for our next layer. Just carefully be gentle. Okay, and just press it down. Okay, go ahead and repeat. Do a dollop frosting. With our last layer, we are going to lay it bake side up. So just go ahead and lay it down. Careful. Alright. So that way you have a nice flat surface on top. Press it down gently. Alright, back to our frosting bit. Remember, this is just the crumb coating. Okay, so we're starting to come down the sides a little bit. Still working on our crumb coating. And next you want to take like a bench scraper and you want to go ahead and just go to the sides. I love this plastic little piece. It's so light and it's easy to work with. You're just scraping, turn it as you go along. Go along the top, do the same thing. And we're gonna stick this in the freezer for 10 minutes and we will pull it back out so it'll be nice and cooled off and we can finish frosting. So let's finish frosting our cake. You can tell it's nice and hard to the touch. It's not sticky at all since it's been in the freezer for 10 minutes. Great, so you guys can decorate it any way you would like. Me, I'm not a fancy decorator. I just don't have time. So as you can see, I'm kind of just taking a spoon, and I learned this actually off a YouTube video. I don't have all the fancy cooking tools. One day I would like to get some. But as you can see, just take your spoon and kind of just swirl it up the sides. I actually made this cake for my mom-in-law's birthday. Let me tell you guys, it was a major hit. Everybody loved the fluffy chocolate moist layers of cake, and the ground up coffee bits of chocolate morsels complemented it so well. Also, the buttercream frosting was so light and fluffy, and it had little bits of salt in it that really went so well together. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.